Well, good morning and welcome everybody to this month's Friday features on Parkinson's, the designer disease. Judy, Recher, a distinguished Toastmaster, is accredited by Parkinson's New South Wales to help raise awareness within the community about the impact of Parkinson's disease on patients, their families, caregivers, the health services and the nation. Diagnosed with Parkinson's in 2005, Judy presents a personal viewpoint of the challenges that she and others face with Parkinson's on a daily basis. After 7 years since diagnosis, Judy attributes her strength to the active lifestyle required to live on Dangar Island for more than 40 years and the senior exercise program she attends in Brooklyn 3 times a week. Please join me in welcoming Judy Recher, who will tell us why Parkinson's is a designer disease.
Welcome to all of you. I'm so glad to see you here. And I'm going to talk to you today about Parkinson's disease so that you will certainly know a lot more about it when I'm finished. Now, one thing you have to know about Parkinson's disease is that those of us who have it are at the mercy of our medication schedule. And this morning I was tested because my 7 o'clock medication hasn't kicked in yet. I've taken my 10 o'clock medication. It hasn't kicked in yet. So when my body changes and I start moving differently, speaking differently, all those different things, don't take it personally. It's just that I am under the control of chemicals. I'm a druggie at this stage. Parkinson's disease is the second most prevalent neurodegenerative disease in Australia. And yet many people in the community and health professionals don't know its impact on the individual, the carers, the family, the community, or the nation as a whole. I watched him as he walked past me in that crowded shopping center. He had a small bag of groceries in his hand. And as he passed by me, I saw him stop suddenly and look down at the floor. And he stood there. And I knew that he was waiting for his brain to make the connection to his feet so that he could move again. I know this because it happens to me as well. He and I are among the 80,000 Australians who have Parkinson's disease. Parkinson's disease has no cause. And yet 30 people every day are diagnosed with it. And this number is increasing, 17% in the last 6 years. 10% of those people are under the age of 40. And 20% are in the working category. And it's been calculated that in 2011, 2012, the cost to the nation of Parkinson's disease in terms of medical, social, personal, and economic costs is $7.6 billion in 2011 and 2012. So what is Parkinson's disease? Parkinson's disease is a degenerative, escalating, debilitating, incurable disease of the central nervous system. There is no diagnostic test for Parkinson's. Our brains contain cells called neurons which produce a chemical called dopamine. Dopamine is essential for smooth muscle movement. By the time a person has been diagnosed with Parkinson's disease, 80% of the dopamine-producing cells in their brains are dead. My exercise guru, Carol Bartlett, has told our exercise class in Brooklyn that we have over 600 muscles in our body. Think about that. 80,000 people with 600 muscles that can be affected by dopamine. My God, the combination is impossible. No wonder they call Parkinson's a designer disease. Every single case is unique. What are the key symptoms of Parkinson's? The one that most of you are probably familiar with is the tremor when you can't control the movements of your hands or your legs. It's usually on one side, but this is what people attribute Parkinson's to. There's also a stiffness of movement. Now I can feel right now I am not relaxed. I am not graceful. I am stiff. My body is moving stiffly. Also, another symptom is a difficulty in getting to move, starting to move, and initiating movement. And that can cause a problem in the sense that you may think you're moving forward, but your feet aren't. And it can lead to falls. There's also rigidity in the body. And sometimes when your medication has worn out, you feel like you are carrying pieces of leg, yes, that's good, pieces of leg on your lead. One of the things that also affects the brains, okay? So you can feel so heavy, and it is an effort, a massive effort just to move forward. And one more aspect of Parkinson's, of which there are many different ways that it can affect a person. One more aspect is that it doesn't just affect the movement, it can affect your brain in the sense of your memory, your ability to communicate, your ability to think. All can be affected by Parkinson's disease. So from a personal point of view, how is my life in the slow lane, as defined by Parkinson's disease? I suspected in 2005 that I was having, or that I had Parkinson's disease when I saw certain signals, even though there's no diagnostic test. My mother had Parkinson's, and what I noticed, particularly on the right side of my body, is my arm did not swing when I walked. I couldn't brush my teeth well. My handwriting got smaller and smaller, and oh, look at that shaking. Smaller and smaller and smaller until it was illegible. I couldn't think. And the fact that Cinnamon, which is a dopamine type medication, reversed all my symptoms, confirmed my diagnosis. In the beginning, I didn't want to know all the things that could happen to me. Like many others, I felt overwhelmed by the potential of my body to undermine my security, my self-esteem, my relationships, and my future. But when I look back on my Parkinson's, I realize that I'm really lucky because in the 7 years since I've been diagnosed, my symptoms have had a minimal impact on my life. One of the most frustrating aspects of Parkinson's is the on-off cycle. On when the medication kicks in and you feel like you can fly, and off when it suddenly ends and you feel like you're filled with lead. And for me, initially, a 4-hour cycle of medication took me through most of the day smoothly. But over time, the medication becomes less efficient. And the on time takes longer to happen, and the off time comes quicker. A couple of months ago, I had a real fright. Because in my 3-hour cycle, I only had 30 minutes at the most of on time. And the rest of the time was just totally lacking in energy, motivation, ability to do anything. And I remember saying to myself, is this how it's going to be? But then, consulting with my neurologist and a minor dose and change in my medication, and I was moving freely again. As I said to you, in the 7 years since I've had my Parkinson's, was diagnosed with Parkinson's, there's been a minimal impact on my life. But there are others. You just, as people who can move freely, you cannot imagine the difficulty that people can have with just trying to do the simplest task. Just for example, say that you have a trimmer and you want to use your mobile phone. And it's very difficult to key in the numbers, to answer it, to talk on it, to listen to it. It's very difficult, and I am told it is impossible. Impossible. Sometimes at night, I have to turn over because lying on my hip too long will hurt. So I turn over several times during the night. I think something's happening. Come on, come on.
Your eyebrows are back.
Come on, come on, come on. I turn over several times in the night. And I end up sleeping on my back. Well, you know what that means, don't you? Well, oh boy, I'm in. Now I can move. I sleep on my back, and I woke up the other night with a magnificent, beautiful, wonderful dream. It was so great, and I woke up smiling. But it didn't feel right. It just didn't feel right. Until I peeled my lips off my teeth. And then it was better, and I had a beautiful smile. Just a beautiful smile. My friends Ian and Denise. Ian's had Parkinson's for 16 years. And Denise told me that a couple of weeks ago they were talking to each other, and Ian was swaying back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. And she said, "Ian, what are you doing?" And he said, "I'm trying to figure out which one of you I answer." Now that may seem funny to you until you realize that Parkinson's is affecting the muscles in his eyes, causing him to see double. Another problem that people with Parkinson's have is getting out of bed at night or turning over, especially in the wintertime. But let me tell you, are you ready? I've solved that problem. With my satin nightshirt and my satin sheets, when I turn over in bed at night, I slide from one side to the other, and I chase my pillow down the wall. Life with Parkinson's can be a real challenge. But one thing it does for you is it shows you hidden strengths that you did not know you had. For example, when you think you cannot go any longer, you keep on going. Life on Dangar Island is an active life. My husband and I do not have a car. That means all of our shopping is brought home in shopping trolleys, up and down the 100 steps at the Brooklyn train station, and then up the 49 steps to our house. A couple of months ago, between the two of us, we brought home 37 kilograms of groceries. That's a lot. That's a lot. In addition, I take my little 15 horsepower boat over to Brooklyn 3 times a week to go to the senior exercise class, run by this magnificent trainer. And the importance of exercise in slowing the progression of the disease can be demonstrated by the fact that in my 5th assessment under the Uniting Care of its people in the class, my 5th assessment, I was stronger than when I started the program 2 years ago. Stronger. Now the fact that Parkinson's is a progressively debilitating disease, getting stronger with time is an asset. And I defy any of you to see a better bicep than that in a 72-year-old woman. Just look at that. Man. So life with Parkinson's does present challenges to you, to all of us. And you never know which way you're going to go. For me, there are 3 areas of concern based upon my symptoms. The first one is that I might fall. And the reason I'm so concerned about that one is in the 12 years from the time she was diagnosed, my mother fell 3 times. What happens when you fall is you have a walker and you're walking along with it, and your feet freeze to the floor, but the momentum of your body carries you forward over the front of the walker. My mother broke her arm, then she broke her collarbone, and then she broke her neck, and that required her to be in a halo brace, drilled into her skull for 7 months. That sounds terrible, but guess what? There are coping mechanisms. You can learn to control that freezing. And I have a magic formula, and I leave my friends for dead when I do it. And basically, my feet are stuck on the floor, and all of a sudden I'll say, big steps, big steps, big steps, big steps. And I go. And this got me all the way through the convention center when I went to a weekend seminar. And it wasn't as big, but it big steps, big steps. I got there. The second concern that I have affects my mental capacity. I've noticed for some time that it's very difficult for me to concentrate or to focus on intellectual type work, like writing speeches, or doing lectures, or doing my accounts. And I knew that my 13-year teaching career as a university lecturer was coming to an end in 2008 when I could not do a simple task. I could not match 4 speakers to 4 evaluators. And I stood up at my desk and I said, I can't do this! But again, you keep on going. And my third challenge in my life, based on my symptoms, is a fear about what happens to my ability to communicate. Those who know me, and there's quite a few of you here, you know how much I love being up in front. Can't help it. That's the way I am. When I was 3 years old, my mother stopped me from getting in the bedroom window and stripping off to the people down on the sidewalk. I've quit doing that.
Not you.
Recently, yeah.
But I did tell my mother that I wish my mouth went all the way around my head so I wouldn't get tired when I talked. Well, it doesn't, but I don't. But I had a real scare. I was having a wonderful discussion with my friends, and all of a sudden, my words became totally incoherent. They made no sense whatsoever. And no matter how hard I tried, I could not say the word I almost forgot the word, smallpox. I could not do it. It only lasted for a very short period of time, but it was terrifying. Well, let's put all these fears into context. First of all, I want to say to you that those of us with Parkinson's are never alone. There are 6.3 million people in the world with Parkinson's disease. And there is an incredibly effective network of agencies to help. And Parkinson's New South Wales is just one of those agencies, providing resources to us in terms of information, seminars, and so on, providing support through counselors, through an info line. And within New South Wales, there are 65 or more support groups. Parkinson's New South Wales is there for us. I have to tell you, though, in spite of all the challenges, I have to consider that Parkinson's has been a blessing to me. I visualize my illness in this way. A little red flag up here by the side of my path, placed there by my guides and my angels. And there is a message with that, and it says, Judy, You're not giving yourself enough time to do what's important. So we're going to give it to you. I don't dread my future. I categorically refuse to take the worst case scenario as my fate. I could fall like my mother. I could lose my ability to communicate. But guess what? That doesn't matter, because it doesn't matter whether I have Parkinson's or whether or not I was involved in some horrific accident that completely paralyzed me and I was totally dependent on someone else or any other thing. It doesn't matter, because like every single one of you, I can only live right now in this moment. That's it. This is where I am now. And from where I stand, life looks pretty good to me. It's great. A few years ago, I placed second at division level in the international speech contest. My speech was called Growing Up, and it told about the lessons that I had learned in the decades of my growing up. And one of the things I said was that you cannot learn the lessons of life until you have lived them. Well, one thing that I have learned through living with Parkinson's is that those of us who have Parkinson's, we lead a AAA life. We have awareness of our disease, awareness of its impact on our family and friends and helpers, awareness of the medications, of the resources available, both social and physical. We have the ability to adapt. We have to. As our symptoms change, our medications change, the things that we can do in our lives change. We have to adapt. And the third thing that we have, above all else, is acceptance. I know that there will be slow times. I know that there will be low times. But when I told my daughters my fears, this is what they said to me. Enjoy your moments of inability. Have you ever thought that they could be gifts of time from your angels just to be? I have Parkinson's disease. I also have friends, family, support, laughter, and love in abundance. What more can I ask? Now what about you? You too can live a AAA life for Parkinson's. You can take your questions and everything to the community. You can talk to your friends and your neighbors and everybody, your family, about the impact of Parkinson's on people. Because the awareness is not there. Make them aware. You can seek answers to your questions about Parkinson's from the internet, from the web, from Parkinson's New South Wales resources. Look at all these wonderful, wonderful books over here that are available in the library on Parkinson's. So you can seek answers. And the third thing is, when you say to us and you ask, can I help? You will receive a resounding yes, because together, you and me and all of us, we can make a difference. Mary.